There comes a moment, quiet, invisible, but unforgettable, when a person looks in the mirror and realizes they've been living a borrowed life. A life designed not by purpose, but by permission. A path shaped not by conviction, but by approval. And in that instant, the soul begins to ache. Not because it failed to be loved, but because it forgot how to lead. If you're hearing this, maybe that moment has arrived for you. You've bent your back to fit into boxes. You've silenced your truth to be liked. You've smiled when your spirit screamed. And you've said yes when every fiber of you begged to say no. They told you it was polite. They told you it was professional. They told you it was smart to stay small. But understand this now, there is a cost to approval. Every time you trade truth for comfort, confidence dies. Every time you shrink so others feel tall, power bleeds. And every time you dim your fire to warm someone else's insecurity, your destiny walks out the door. Dale Carnegie once said, "You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years trying to get them interested in you." But he never said, "Lose yourself trying." The art of influence isn't self-erasure, it's self-awareness. It's not about pleasing the world, it's about showing up so powerfully the world has no choice but to listen. You were not born to whisper. You were not born to fit in. You were not born to bow, beg, or blend. You were born to lead. But leadership doesn't begin on stages. It doesn't start with followers or fame. It begins in private, in quiet decisions made when no one is watching. In the moment you choose courage over compliance, truth over likability, clarity over chaos. You lead when you choose your voice, not their expectations. You lead when you walk away from the applause and toward your values. And you lead when you stop asking, "Will they like me?" and start asking, "Is this who I truly am?" That's the real battle. Not out there, in here. Somewhere along the line, you were taught to perform, taught to smile when it hurt, taught to say yes to keep the peace, taught to keep your ambitions polite and your boundaries negotiable. But performance is not power. Politeness is not leadership. And people-pleasing is a slow form of spiritual starvation. Let me tell you something that the greats understood. Every single one of them. Lincoln, Carnegie, Eleanor Roosevelt, Mandela. They didn't lead because they were liked. They led because they were anchored. Anchored in vision. Anchored in principle. Anchored in something so much deeper than applause. Abraham Lincoln was hated by half a nation and still led it through war. Walt Disney was laughed out of 300 offices before building an empire of dreams. Rosa Parks said no once, and that no was louder than 1,000 empty yeses. You do not change the world by being agreeable. You change it by being authentic. When your spirit speaks and you listen, that is leadership. When you say what others are too afraid to admit, that is power. And when you walk away from being liked to start being trusted, that is when everything begins to change. Because trust is not built on flattery, it's built on courage. And courage is quiet. It doesn't need a microphone. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't check the temperature of the room. It walks in and sets it. Leadership begins the moment you stop asking, "What do they want me to be?" and start demanding of yourself, "Who did I come here to become?" Because make no mistake, the world will try to write your story for you. It will hand you scripts soaked in fear, soaked in expectation, soaked in everything except your truth. It will tell you to smile more, speak less, stay quiet, stay small. Don't ruffle feathers. Don't be too much. Don't be too you. But every second you obey a false script, the author of your life becomes someone else. So tear the page. Burn the script. You are not here to be understood by everyone. You are not here to be everyone's favorite. You are here to be honest, awake, and undeniable. And yes, there will be resistance. There always is. The moment you decide to stop pleasing, the world will test you. People will question you. Some will leave you. Many will misunderstand you. But that is the price of walking your own path. And it is a small price for a life of meaning. Because the truth is this: the world doesn't need more agreeable people. It needs more anchored ones. It needs people who stand for something, even if they stand alone. It needs leaders who aren't chasing validation. They're chasing vision. And vision is dangerous to those addicted to comfort. Clarity is power, and clarity is painful. It means cutting through the noise, not just around you, but inside you. It means listening to that voice that whispers when you're alone, the voice that says you're made for more. The one you've tried to mute with distraction, people, approval, entertainment, comfort. But it won't go away, because it is the most honest part of you, and it will keep knocking until you answer. The moment you gain clarity on who you are and what you stand for, everything changes. No more over-explaining. No more seeking applause from people who don't understand your mission. No more twisting yourself to fit rooms you were never meant to sit in. You begin walking differently, speaking differently, choosing differently. Because now, you're not chasing anything. You're creating everything. And creation requires discipline. Discipline to follow through when motivation dies. Discipline to show up when no one is clapping. Discipline to protect your vision, even when doubt screams louder than belief. Think of Thomas Edison. Thousands of failed experiments and ridicule. But he knew. He saw the light before it ever existed. That's clarity. Henry Ford was laughed at for wanting to build a car for the common man, but his vision outlasted their laughter. That's discipline. Every leader you admire, they weren't just dreamers. They were doers. They showed up every day without a crowd, without a cheer. They built in silence so they could lead in power. And now, it's your turn. Vision without action is just a hallucination, and action without alignment is just noise. The most powerful lives are built not just by movement, but by meaningful movement. Your job is not to stay busy. Your job is to stay intentional. Stop performing for approval. Start showing up with alignment. Everything you do, every decision, every word, every step should answer one question. Does this move me closer to who I'm meant to be? If the answer is no, walk away. If the answer is yes, double down. Because your time is too precious for detours. Your energy is too valuable for distraction. And your calling is too important to be drowned out by other people's preferences. Let them call you selfish. Let them call you arrogant. Let them say you've changed. You are changing because you're growing. And growth doesn't always look polite. Sometimes it looks like saying no. Sometimes it looks like walking alone. Sometimes it looks like burning the version of yourself that lived for applause. But in that fire, you become unstoppable.